Sleep absolutely fucking sucks. Sleep is the one thing holding humans back from discovering an immortality pill and exploring the far reaches of the universe. I fucking hate sleep. Not only is it an extremely inefficient use of time by just doing nothing for 8 hours or so, but it's also difficult to do oftentimes on top of that. So you just waste fucking time trying to sleep and sleeping. It's such an insult. It slaps your dick hole twice. You'll lie awake in bed for hours with your eyes closed, pretending to go to sleep so Santa Claus will come down the chimney and fucking throw sand in your face so you can actually fall asleep. And it just sometimes doesn't happen. Then you get up and then you're grouchy, like I am right now. I've been trying to sleep for the last 3 fucking hours and I can't, and this happens so often. So I figured, you know what? I'm a 21st century man. Let's hop on YouTube and see if there's something to help me out here. So I typed in sleep. Found this video with 10 million views, so you know it's got to be good. It's called Oddly Satisfying Things That You Need to Watch Before You Go to Sleep, so hopefully this is better than melatonin. Let's get in here. What a great start. This looks like a goddamn scene from a horror movie where the serial killer's playing with his victim's hair. This is just disturbing. What's oddly satisfying about this shit? Yeah, that's what I want to see before going to bed. Fucking textbooks being made, reminding me of the stress and waste of money of college textbooks. Yeehaw. Or at least that's what I'm seeing in this Rorschach. I think what it actually is some type of Chinese book. It looks like the size of a phone book. I don't know what it could possibly be. But still, this is eliciting a response of stress instead of sleep. And honestly, I think I know the reason why I can't sleep most nights, and it's because I know so many of you don't follow my streams at twitch.tv/moistcritical, and it just causes me to toss and turn asking myself, why don't they follow the streams? Admittedly, this is pretty cool. I wouldn't call it oddly satisfying. It looks more like the hose is ejaculating, which I imagine is satisfying for the hose, but as a casual viewer, it's just kind of cool to look at. Yeah, this one I don't get at all how it's oddly satisfying. I've actually seen this video before just showing how that head can work on all types of different surfaces for bolts and shit like that. I don't see how that's satisfying to anyone outside of a carpenter coming in his pants looking at the efficiency of the tool. Yeah, honestly, I don't see how any of this shit is satisfying to anyone, honestly. What's next? Are they gonna show me a video of a man farting into the camera and shitting his pants or something? Is that oddly satisfying? I just don't get it. I thought this was gonna make me tired, not question every single fucking clip they show me. How did this guy even get himself in this predicament? How did he make the back of his car so filthy? Did he drive in reverse through a diarrhea shower? A fucking poopy sprinkler? Now this was just an arts and crafts project. I don't even know what the goal of it was. What, to make it a fucking clear see-through sarcophagus for a strawberry? To entomb it in? I don't see how that's satisfying. That just doesn't make any sense. Well, unfortunately, these oddly satisfying clips have not made me tired. That's it. See ya. When it comes to Twitter, I'll usually read a tweet, get a frown on my face, and then forget about it 2 or 3 minutes later because Twitter is just a constant stream of the dumbest shit all the time. It's just an actual cesspool of diarrhea constantly flowing through it. But occasionally there are tweets that just stick with me. And there's one that's just been living rent-free in my ass for the last 2 weeks. And I just want to talk about it today. It comes from Seth Rogen. I'm sure you already know what tweets I'm about to mention because I'm super late to this one, but I don't care. Just like puking while having a bad hangover, I've got to get it out of my system to feel better. So our story starts just like every other fairy tale, with a robbery in LA. Casey Neistat makes a tweet. So our cars got robbed this morning because Los Angeles is a crime-riddled third world shithole of a city. But tremendous appreciation and gratitude to the hardworking officers at the LAPD West LA, who not only arrested the motherfucker, but they got all our stolen goods back. That's about all there is to it. That's all she wrote right there. This fairy tale has a happy ending. Shrek gets the girl, case closed. Like, there's really not a whole lot to really dissect here, and you wouldn't expect this to be a controversial thing to say. His car got broken into, people got arrested, and they got their stuff back. I mean, that's a complete adventure right there. Like, the only people that could really be offended about a tweet like that would be the people that got arrested. Like, if they're on Twitter on their phone in jail, like, hey, fuck you, buddy. I would have got away with it, too, if it wasn't for that meddling dog. But then out of nowhere, from the top turnbuckle, comes Seth Rogen making a surprise appearance at WrestleMania on Twitter. I guess he's like the head of tourism for LA, because he got mad that he called LA a shithole of a city. That's what he took issue with. So Seth Rogen replies, "Dude, I've lived here for over 20 years. You're nuts, haha." Actually, I'll do the Seth Rogen laugh. Yeah. It's lovely here. Don't leave anything valuable in it. It's called living in a big city. Bro, just don't get your car broken into. It's that easy. It's called living in a big city. You should expect your shit to be constantly violated because you're living in a big city. Don't leave anything valuable in your car because you're gonna lose it. Duh. Dummy. Fucking idiot. This is your fault now. You're the one that is to blame for this. You don't want your valuables stolen? Don't leave them in the car in LA. LA is wonderful, but just expect all your shit to get broken into, so plan accordingly by keeping less valuable stuff in your car. Love LA. It's great. It's such a stupid thing to come in and say out of nowhere. Even Casey Neistat, who plays nice with everyone, is taken aback by it. He's like, what the fuck is this? It's so outrageously stupid. Very rarely will you see somebody defend LA like tooth and nail. Obviously, there's people that like LA, especially extremely wealthy people like Seth Rogen, who found crazy success there. But it's pretty rare that there's someone as delusionally off the mark so consistently like Seth Rogen, and this is the perfect example of it. He finds the one spot and the one opinion that almost no one agrees with. He's also just not really shy about showing that he feels superior to the average person. Like, he took personal offense that Casey Neistat said LA was a shithole, and then like shames him for being upset that his car was broken into. Bro, just get another car, get other valuable things, it's that easy. So Casey Neistat responds, "I can still be mad though, right? Feel so violated." Asking his permission to be mad, like, oh, if Seth Rogen says I can't be mad, then I guess I'm okay with it. So then Seth Rogen replies, yeah, oh yeah, you can be mad, but I guess I don't personally view my car as an extension of myself, and I've never really felt violated any of the 15 or so times my car was broken into. This dude is just leaving his car out like a candy bucket on Halloween, it seems. Once a guy accidentally left a cool knife in my car, so if it keeps happening, you might get a little treat. This is certainly up there with the wackiest, stupid shit I've read on Twitter from a celebrity. It's baffling that not only did his brain come up with this as a tweet, but it passed the filters that his brain has to post it. He's like, yep, this looks good. And he hit tweet, and it's still not deleted. And I'm glad it's not. I'm glad that he's just going to stick to his guns and leave this shit up. This is something that I feel is going to haunt him forever, because he is still getting clowned on to this day for this tweet. It's been 2 weeks now, and I don't think it'll stop anytime soon, because it is just that outrageously stupid. Because Seth Rogen doesn't view his car as an extension of himself, he's totally fine with people using it like a fucking fleshlight. They just treat his cars like a cum dumpster, and they dive right in, and Seth Rogen gives them a nice thumbs up, I suppose. And I'm assuming that extends to everything in Seth Rogen's life. As a lot of people have also pointed out, how does Seth Rogen feel about, like, his house? Is that an extension of himself? Because if not, why not just have a bunch of people go into your house, Seth, and take all your shit? Just let everyone have a field day. If your car's not an extension of yourself, your house, your property, it's not either. So I'm assuming he's just going to open his doors and let people come take all of his valuable possessions and high-five them on the way out, baby. I also love how he's defending LA by mentioning his car's been broken into 15 times in the time that he's lived there. That doesn't make people excited about LA, Seth, you fucking psychopath. Not everyone can afford to replace all their valuables after their car's been broken into 15 times, you goofball. And I also love that he closes it off by saying that one of them even left a knife in his car as a little treat, a tip. To me, that sounds like either a threat or they're trying to frame you for a crime. They fucking left a tool that they used at some other crime scene in Seth's car, and these fucking idiots just manhandling it, getting his fingerprints all over it, hangs it up on his fireplace mantle. Eventually the cops find it and connect him to some unrelated crime. Seth goes to jail for life or some shit. Like, I don't know who gets excited about someone leaving a knife in their car after it just got broken into. Like, it's just, the delusion here is unbelievable. So the conversation starts to fizzle out here, but it continues. Casey Neistat says, I didn't get any treats, he just took the decorations for my daughter's 7th birthday party and left bloody handprints. Yeah, obviously he's not going to get any treats. It's not like the Tooth Fairy broke into his car and left him some money for what they took. Like, it was a robbery. I don't know how Seth can possibly justify it by saying just let your car keep getting stolen and eventually you'll get a knife. Like, it's fucking silly. And then he says, serious question, how did you get your car broken into 15 times? Which is a great question, because you really have to go out of your way to get it broken into that many times, I feel. Seth says, I lived in West Hollywood for 20 years and parked on the street. Also, it sucks your shit was stolen, but LA is not some shithole city. As far as big cities go, it has a lot going for it. Yeah, especially if you're a burglar who knows what kind of car Seth Rogen drives, because apparently you can just go in there and take all that shit with no consequence, because Seth doesn't give a fuck. His car's getting broken into almost once a year at this rate. This is where the interaction stops, and you just have to wonder, what was Seth Rogen thinking? Like, who did he think this appealed to besides, like, the extremely rich Hollywood elites? Like, there's no normal person that's gonna read that and be like, wow, how noble of Seth, just giving away his shit like that and accepting that beautiful knife. I don't know really what he was expecting to happen. But it got me thinking, what is the worst tweet I ever made? And I think I found it. I tweeted this back in 2019. I said, what the fuck, the chupacabra is real, he just fucked my grandpa. I don't regret posting the tweet, but I do really regret that I misspelled chupacabra. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this because I've been thinking about it a lot recently, and yeah, that's about it. See ya. I've seen a lot of gross videos on the internet. Usually nothing phases me. And I know that's a cliche a lot of people toss around like some kind of hardened, seasoned warrior of internet usage. Like, nothing gets under my skin or gives me the heebie-jeebies anymore. Been around too long. And then light up a fucking cigar or something. Like, I know a lot of people say that. But it's just very rare that I find a video that actually unnerves me. And a couple days ago, I found one of those rare cases where a video actually is just so yucky that it put, like, the fear of God back in me when it came to, like, internet gross-out content. And it wasn't, like, a planned shock video. We're not talking about, like, you know, Goatsy, Lemon Party, or any of the classics or anything, or New Age shock videos. What it was a man in Paris set up cups around a location that people were using to publicly urinate. And the cups people would go up and pee in. And then he would scoot in there like a thief in the night, take the cup, drink it, and set it back down and waddle away waiting for more people to fill his goblet. And then once it was filled with more strangers' piss, he'd come right back in and claim his prize once more. It is so foul. It is revolting. I'm not going to show you the video itself because I'm sure that would be a terms of service violation on YouTube. It is very clearly sexual. There's no way this guy is drinking strangers' piss for nutritional benefits or because it tastes yummy. It is very much some kind of unreal fetish that I've never even heard of just drinking strangers' pee-pee. But I'll show you what he looks like. So this is the Tinkle Goblin, and he's got multiple cups set up waiting for people to fill it with piss. And I'll show you him about to claim his trophy. This is him approaching the cup in one of the videos here. And he drinks pretty much all of it because he doesn't want to waste any of that sweet nectar that he works so hard to collect here in his cup. In the video, you can see two men pissing into that cup at the same time. They are turbocharging it. Like, it is actual urine. It's not like some kind of staged video. This isn't like a fake CGI experiment or anything, I don't think. It's all one continuous shot from a guy that is just filming from inside of the building and catching this guy in the act, drinking strangers' urine. He sets up these, like, booby traps for piss, so that way he can drink it. It's so weird and gross. I don't even really understand why it's so disgusting to me. I've definitely seen objectively more disturbing and gross videos, but there's something about the repeated nature of him doing this and the idea that he does this often. Because, like I mentioned, in this video, there is once again another cup that he has strategically placed to catch more piss, but that one's empty, so he must have already had his fill. But like, it might be more than just these two cups. He might have cups all around the city. He could be like a Batman tier villain who's trying to suck Gotham dry of their piss. Like, it's just so bafflingly weird and gross to watch him drink all of it after watching the men piss into the cup. It's strange. It's just so odd. I'll show you clips where I talked about it on stream with chat, and we just kind of went over it for a little while. Again, don't show any of the clips of it because I do think it would be a violation of the rules too. But man, is it wild. You see about the guy in Paris stealing strangers' pee to drink? That is actually shocking that you mentioned that because I still have that video pulled up in a tab. It is one of the most bafflingly disgusting videos I have ever watched in my life. Like, it's on the same level as, like, my initial impression of Two Girls, One Cup. Like, the emotions I felt watching that for the first time, I felt again when I watched this video a few days ago. It's so gross. And there's a cup that's filled with fluid. And some old guy walks up to it, fucking chugs it, like literally just skulls this bitch, drinking all of the stranger's piss, and puts it back down as like this communal urinal, and then he walks away. So I believe this guy sets a cup down in a position where people will like piss in it, like if they have to publicly urinate, and he collects it all in this chalice, and then he goes and collects it every now and then to drink. It's so wild. Like, someone like that exists. Not only do they exist, but they're part of the same species as the rest of us. Like, I don't know what has to go wrong in someone's brain to lead to that. Also, in the video, there are people that are visibly peeing into the cup. I totally forgot about that in the beginning. There's two guys that are crossing streams on the cup, like the Ghostbusters with their proton beams. So two dudes are literally pissing in the cup right when the video starts. And then about a minute later, the old guy walks over, he's got a plastic bag, he reaches down, he picks up the cup, and he just fucking goes to town. He just goes to town. Sets it back down, walks away. And I imagine, if you haven't seen this video, I bet you have a mental image of what this guy looks like in your head, and I bet you are right on the money with what he actually looks like. He looks like a piss drinker. You look like the piss boy. Well, I mean, like, he actually just does, though. Like, he looks like he's just up to no good at all times. What's even weirder, though, is that this whole area seems like it's a designated piss pot. Because there's also another guy who's near the cup but not on it that's just urinating, too. And it's just in public. Is that not like a crime or something in Paris? Public urination? You know it had to be sexual. It is. It is very clearly sexual. No one's drinking strangers' urine for the flavor or fun. This is some kind of weird fetish. Can't find the video. What's it called? So it's on Reddit. It's called "Man Sets Up Cups for People to Piss in and Drinks Them." Is it possibly fake? It'd be quite a wild fake, because it's a continuous shot here. From the men peeing in the cup to the man walking over to the cup and drinking it. That would be a pretty impressive fake. And it'd be a weird thing to fake, because they get actually nothing out of it. People don't usually piss in the street like that. This video was taken during one of the biggest public protests in 50 years. Oh, is that why there's so many people here urinating on this building? I guess that would make more sense. So he's getting angry pee. Maybe this is part of his protest. I'm gonna keep drinking urine until you revert the retirement age changes. And you can't stop me. I'm gonna keep doing it. You better change your ways. But here, I'll bring this part down. This shouldn't be toss. So this is him leaving the scene of the crime there. But you can see all, like, the piss dribble streaks everywhere. It's, oh my god, it's so fucking revolting. It's so bad. I wonder how many bait cups he has scattered throughout the area, because this is probably not his only spot. He's probably dropped cups in all of, like, the hot spot corners of public urination. So that's where he's running to right now to go claim his prize from another area. He's like a fisherman with, like, lobster pots, so he's going to collect his, his haul. The guy filming it showed an empty one under the window. No, that was that one, I'm pretty sure. It was just before the other two guys came in and defiled it. Well, not even defiled it, it's exactly what he looked for. Fed him. Oh, you're right. Oh, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Nice. That's cool. No, that's the shit cup. Oh, yeah, maybe. Maybe the one in the corner over there was for pee and the other one's for poop. Right. You might be onto something. Like a rain catcher. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Now it's all coming together. Now he doesn't even seem crazy anymore. Fingers of steel? How can I say no? This morning I was making myself a peanut butter and honey sandwich, which I do most mornings since it's the breakfast of champions. It'll make you big and strong for a growing boy like me. However, when I was putting the honey down after pouring it on the bread, I made a fatal miscalculation and I dropped the bread. I fumbled it. Everything went slow motion as I watched it hit the floor. I was upset, devastated, my heart was broken, day nearly ruined. However, it wasn't the saddest thing that's happened to me today. The saddest thing that's happened today is me watching this video about a woman who's cheated on her husband so many times that she's convinced him it's actually a good thing and healthy, and now they're swingers. Let me make it clear that I'm not the relationship police here. If they're happy, all power to them, but it doesn't make it any less goofy with the video they put out there about it. So let's go ahead and go over it.
This is Christina. She fell in love with Mark.
I don't know why the narrator hates Mark so much. They just like reluctantly introduce him. They just let out like a big sigh, a huge pause. Christina fell in love with Mark, I guess. I don't know what happened here. They were so enthusiastic to introduce Christina, but when they got to Mark, it was like a balloon deflating there. It was like a fucking funeral service. They were like, hey, Christina, wee, and then Mark.
Despite being in love with Mark, Christina also found she had eyes for other men.
I kept cheating so much and I just couldn't stop.
When I did find out, it was very devastating. I was heartbroken, to say the least, about it. I started thinking, oh, maybe I'm not good enough for her.
I just kept cheating and I couldn't stop. There was just a cock demon inside of me. I'd be walking down the street and I'd trip and fall onto more penis. It was an uncontrollable urge. It was like a car with a brick on the gas if that car was barreling towards more wieners. And then Mark's like, yeah, I got cheated on. It didn't feel great. You know, it wasn't like an S-tier experience. I was heartbroken. Didn't feel amazing.
Rather than let the cheating break the pair up, they decided to explore new experiences as a couple.
I just said, let's try this swinging thing.
This is where it gets pretty manipulative in my eyes. So she's been cheating on him a lot. And now she's finally dumping the cold water on him, taking the training wheels off and saying, look, why don't we just try this whole swinging thing out so that way I can feel less guilty about cheating on you since now you can do it too. And it feels like Mark convinced himself it's a good idea because he can stay with her in this whole swinging thing. But it wasn't like a mutual decision between the two of them. She kind of like led him to it because she was going to keep cheating regardless. So Mark just goes along with it, it feels like. I'm not a fucking relationship expert. I'm not a couples counselor.
Yeah, so we've been together for 17 years, and we've been married for 15 years. Yeah, we are soulmates. We finish each other's sentences from like day one. Yeah, so I've struggled with monogamy my whole life. Ever since I was a little girl and had boyfriends in grade school, I would have multiple boyfriends at the same time. And then I cheated on him with like 4 guys. I was always open and honest about it. And just monogamy is not natural for me.
Well, that's just dandy. Thank God. At least she's honest about it, because if she was cheating and lying, that'd be a disgusting combination. That'd be awful. You know, you can't even be really mad at her at this point. Like, hey, Mark, I cheated on you again today with another dude. It's like, hey, at least you told me. So now I don't feel as bad. Thank you for that, Christina. You're such an angel. I also love the way that she presents this like it's something that's beyond her control, just like this almost illness that she's battling, this compulsion to cheat. Whereas other people are struggling with like drugs or alcohol or something, she just struggles with constantly cheating on Mark.
When I found out, it was very devastating for me because at that time, I could have been monogamous with her the rest of my life because I loved her like that.
It was hard for him to accept that, like, that I was only in love with him and only wanted to be with him forever, but yet wanting other men. It took a little while for you to like really comprehend that.
It was tough at first, but now I get it and I'm totally on board and I love it now.
I don't know what's so hard to understand. It's such a simple concept. She loves you, you're her soulmate, but she's also fucking other dudes. Like, hey, what? Don't be selfish, you can't share? Huh? What's wrong with you, pussy? You insecure? You're not gonna let other dudes fuck your wife? Okay, big guy. Again, this is another giant red flag to me about manipulation because it feels like he knows it's wrong. Like, it's hard to wrap your head around it, Mark, because it's fucking wrong. But she is convincing him that she loves him so much, but just can't help but find other men too. Now, I want to make it clear, I understand there's a lot of relationships where they also have other partners outside of, like, the two of them. They're not monogamous. And that's fine if the couples, like, mutually arrived at that. In this case, from everything I've seen in the video, it seems like Christina pushed Mark to be okay with it, as opposed to something that they both were on the same page about. I also love the way at the end he says, I get it now, I'm totally on board, I love it now. It sounds like he's being held hostage. That was like an actual, like, fucking prisoner of war there. Christina, it seems like she must have had like a gun on her lap pointing at him like, hey, fucking say the line, please. This is a YouTube video. We need to look good here. Say it. Say it. Say you love it.
For me, it was just, I just desired to be with other men. And then I would feel super guilty about it. And I had done it with every relationship. When I try to be monogamous, I am not the happiest person in the world. I'm kind of like bitchy, so.
You are very bitchy, yeah.
I know. He sees such a difference now that I'm not monogamous. Like, he sees, like, I'm just so much happier.
2020, right?
Yeah, you wish you would have done this years ago, right?
Right.
Jesus Christ, it's like a commercial for a Snickers bar. You're not you when you're not cheating on your husband. Honey, you're acting so crazy today. Honey, why are you being such a bitch? You know what? I'm gonna call up my friend to come fuck you to calm you down a little bit. Or, better yet, why not just go to the local hockey team and let them spit roast you in the locker room? And that way you can come home a little bit more mellow, okay? You're acting nuts, and I'm gonna need you to go have some sex with some other dudes so that way we can have a more healthy relationship. It's so, like, weird, the way he just goes along with it. She's like, oh, I bet you wish you had done this years ago, right? Yeah. Oh, it's so much better now. Even though, like, his face kind of says the whole story, it doesn't seem like he's really happy about it, honestly. But again, I'm not the expert here. Maybe he does love it. I couldn't tell you. But either way, it doesn't seem like he was the one that arrived to this decision naturally. It was something that was kind of forced upon him if he wanted to stay with Christina, whom he seems to really love.
Our family and friends, they basically all found out that we were swingers through TikTok. Never once has one of our friends of 26 years said, I saw that you guys were swingers and I accept you for it. They all want to follow my TikTok, but yet you've been my best friend for 26 years. You've ghosted me.
Who gives a fuck? It's not your friend's responsibility to sign off on your relationship decisions. You shouldn't be looking or demanding them give you a green light or a thumbs up, a pat on the ass like, hey, good game. When's my turn with your wife, Mark? Like, they don't have that responsibility to you. Sure, they can give advice or input or whatever, but to be mad at them for not signing off on it is super weird. And to be, like, angry at them for not, like, going out of their way to be like, oh, we totally accept this. They don't care that much, I imagine. If my best friend came up to me and was like, Charlie, I'm a swinger and a cuck. In fact, I'm just a cuck. I'm not a swinger. I don't get any action on the side. I just let my wife fuck other dudes. I'd be like, all right, bro. I mean, that's fine. So when are we playing Elden Ring? I also do appreciate that apparently the news broke to all their friends and family through TikTok. That sounds about right. TikTok is such a wild and wacky space.
It's ridiculous how, like, nervous I get about going TikTok live. 27,000 of my followers are on right now, which is pretty good for 10:30 a.m. Hello, TikTok live. How are my people doing? Mark, answer if he gets jealous or not.
At the time that I got jealous, she actually had a side piece, and mine
Two
was
of 'em.
kind of like ghosting me and acting a little crazy, and so I just cut it off with her. So I had no side piece, but she did, and it kind of made me a little bit jealous.
Why even jump in there and interject? No, actually, Mark, you stupid fucking idiot. You goddamn Neanderthal, I had 2 side pieces. It's like, why even throw that in there? So they go on TikTok Live, which is another fucking weird space. TikTok Lives are a lawless wasteland. So they're on TikTok Live answering frequently asked questions. The question they're answering here was about, do you guys get jealous? She's like, nah, I don't get jealous. Why the fuck would I? Mark's like, well, actually, I did kind of get jealous one time. She's like, no, I was 2 dudes, and it was silly for you to get jealous, you goofball. So the whole thing is just a little odd.
Swinging has changed our lives for the best. I mean, not only are we happier, we're healthier, mentally, physically. We don't allow toxicity in our life. Right. We only allow positivity in our life.
We're active all the time.
We're active. It's made us just more attracted to each other. It's made our love deeper.
Yeah, if you say so, Christina. At the end of the day, if they're both happy, good for them. But it really does feel like Christina got the better end of this bargain. She got to have her cake and eat it too. She never compromised. She never learned how to just love Mark and only Mark, even though he himself was committed entirely to just Christina. He was the one that had to compromise in a big way to convince himself that the swinging lifestyle is great. And even during that, he mentions like some jealousy. And it's just, you know, it doesn't feel like it was something that they arrived to together. It feels like something that was forced upon the poor guy. But again, I'm not the expert. Maybe they're happy, super into it, you know, good for them, whatever. Still a very silly video that I wanted to talk about. And that's about it. So yeah. Fetishes are a lot like nipples. Everyone has one. And in the spirit of Halloween, I was trying to find some scary, spooky fetishes to look at and investigate. And oftentimes I'll just type in a bunch of like weird shit that I think might turn up a result on YouTube. So I typed in, I am sexually attracted to ghosts, and luckily I actually found one of the world's first ghost fetishists giving an interview about it. So I thought we could dive in and take a peek to get in the spirit of Halloween.
Yeah, which is some people would be a little scared of, but you weren't scared by it.
It never felt scary. It felt comforting, if anything.
And even when you were in, this all happened sort of in the spare bedroom. That was where it was, you know, it was at its most powerful. Even when it came up behind you and you could feel its breath on your neck, that still didn't freak you out.
I was starting to fall asleep. It came to me, and
what happened?
God, look at the face. That is the face of a man who is sexually aroused in the subject. He looks like he's any second just waiting to come. He just needs to hear the right words from her. I really like how the beginning of this intro isn't really even her telling her story with fucking ghosts. It's this guy leading her down the path of the story like he's writing this fanfic for her, 50 Shades of Grey spirit realm dimension.
I don't know what I can say on TV.
You just wait.
You had sex?
Yeah, I had sex with the ghost.
With a ghost?
Yeah.
I had to take the mask off. That shit was designed for like a 9-year-old's head dimension, so it was basically suffocating me. I felt like I was being assassinated by Agent 47, the hitman, and it's probably full of lice. But anyway, I spliced this around a little bit because the intro is a bit long-winded. In a nutshell, she had a fiance, he worked a lot, she got bored, so she go into the spare bedroom and she felt the presence of spirits, and eventually let them fuck her. And now we're getting into the juicy details on how she converted from human flesh to spirit ectoplasm.
Physically, how does the sex bit happen?
You can still feel it. Like it was it's difficult to explain.
Like a weight.
Kind of a weight, but at the same time weightless, and like a physical. There's the breath and stroking, and the energy as well. I think the energy was a lot to do with it. Do you feel a connection?
I've got to wonder though how she chooses her sexual ghost partners. Like, how does she know she's not getting fucked by Adolf Hitler and forming this connection with his ghost? How does she process who's entering her vagina spiritually? It's just a very odd dynamic, but the ghosts must be fucking thrilled. It's gotta be boring as shit being a ghost, only being able to move chairs and knock over vases at 3 a.m. To be able to go and just fully penetrate this woman who's more than willing and consenting to it, that's gotta be such a treat to Danny Phantom's universe over there on the other side of the spirit world, the ghost zone.
And does a sexual experience with a ghost end in orgasm?
For me, yeah.
Right, gosh, so wow.
And fan for the ghost?
I just hope so.
Well, I can't say for sure if the ghost's orgasm, but I can tell you this co-host here looks like he's about to.
Then after that relationship ended, I mean, there have been many other spirit that have come to visit you.
Yeah.
And some have lasted sort of one time, but some have lasted a little bit longer.
This is why I think it's a little dangerous what she's doing. She's teaching these ghosts that it's possible for them to fuck us. She's basically the slutty teacher in all the porn films that's teaching the students how sex works, but on a larger scale and a very different clientele with these spirits. Eventually, they're going to want more than just her, and she already admits that she's ended sexual relations with a lot of the spirits. That means they're going to be seeking out other pussies and buttholes to come after. Rest in peace, anyone that sleeps on their stomach. You're going to have to start putting duct tape on your asshole, or else you might be visited by a ghost rapist, all because she's teaching them exactly how it works.
Yeah. Are they very different sorts of relationships? Have they got different energies?
Yeah, you can always feel a difference. The same just with a human, I guess. You can just feel different presences,
so
different personalities.
It's not the same one coming back 20 times?
No, it's often different ones.
But how do you know that? You can't see the ghost, you can't verify that, you can't even ask for their ID. Maybe you're getting fucked by underage ghosts, and now you're going to be in trouble with the law.
I've got no interest in men now.
But what about children? Because that surely is not possible.
I don't know, I've done actually a bit of research into phantom pregnancies recently.
Yeah, I'm sure that research field is pretty sound, scientifically speaking. Phantom pregnancy, that's cutting-edge science right there, cutting-edge research. Probably something she found in one of the anti-vax Facebook groups, I'm sure. But it is an interesting thought to think about. Could you get fucked by a ghost and have a child? Probably not. I imagine if such a thing was possible where she's actually getting fucked by ghosts and they're also not sterile, what would happen is the pregnancy would be kind of like a queef. So maybe she does go 9 months and then lets out like a puff of air. And maybe to the human eye, it's just a queef, but in the spirit realm, it's perhaps a baby, kind of like in Dragon Ball Z when Gotenks and Trunks fuse together and they like spit out those little ghosts of themselves with one of their attacks that explode. Maybe that, possibly, but I don't know. I'd have to look into the research from phantom pregnancy experts.
Which I know sounds
Phantom
ridiculous.
pregnancy doesn't mean you have a phantom.
It doesn't, but actually, there's case studies where people have done a bit of research, and there's... I'm trying to think how to explain.
Yeah.
But there is sort of possibilities that it could actually be maybe the ghost of a child within you, but people don't know how to carry it on to full-time kind of thing. But
I don't want to be the one to tell you Santa Claus isn't real, but I think it's important we rip this Band-Aid off. You will never be the mother to a phantom child like this. I don't think that's how it works. Even if the dimensional barrier is a bit weak around your vagina so ghosts are able to actually fuck you, I think that dimensional barrier is probably the ultimate condom, meaning they will never successfully ghost bust in you and get a child in there. I don't think that would work, but again, I'd have to check what the experts are saying.
Could be explained by sleep paralysis, which is just in those early moments of sleep where you're conscious but your subconscious takes over, and many people describe sexual feelings that happen, that it could be that. Could that be a possibility or not?
I don't think so, because my first ghost used to follow me around the house and kind of lure me in.
Well, you can't argue with that defense. To be fair, I don't think it'd be sleep paralysis either. I also just think it's straight fantasy, but I could be totally wrong. Maybe a highly professional team of paranormal investigators will visit her house at some point and find her levitating 2 feet over her bed, legs behind her head and eyes rolled back doing an ahigo face. There's no telling in this crazy world we live in.
Ideally, I'd like to find one that I would like to settle down with and spend the rest of my life with, but I'll never go back to men.
Waiting for Mr. Right.
I'd say that's pretty noble. She's just waiting for the right ghost to come penetrate her. Hopefully Mr. Rogers can get his dick in there so she can feel the positive energy from Mr. Rogers, and maybe they can live happily ever after, both in the human and spirit dimension. A very interesting story, one that really kind of encapsulates the entire feel of Halloween. So just something to really kick off the season nicely as Halloween is approaching. That's it, everyone. See ya. There is an update to the Corey Harris case here, the Zoom court hearing where he was driving with a suspended license. The judge was stunned, even made this face right here, which is a really, really good face that he's making. It kind of reminds me of 007 characters, like the bad guys, when you like zoom in on their face after they get shot. So the story started with him going to the Zoom court hearing while driving. The judge is like, I might be misunderstanding something here. Someone help me out. Am I off my gourd right now? He's driving, and he has a suspended license. There's a suspended license case, and he is driving on the Zoom call, and he just goes, "Yep, that's correct, Your Honor." So then he ended up turning himself in. He was released 2 days later, like after spending 2 days in jail. Turns out his license suspension was rescinded 2 years ago. So he should have been able to drive, no problem. It shouldn't have been an issue at all. So that was the update to it. And then today, I saw this when we finished cryptid hunting. I saw that there was another update to this where apparently he never had a license, which I haven't really looked into yet. I'm going to learn together with everybody. But it makes me wonder, how the fuck can the system be this disheveled, broken, and dog shit that not only did he not have a license, but somehow they suspended an imaginary license, rescinded the suspension on an imaginary license, then went back, double-checked the suspended rescission, or rescinding, and gave that the green light, gave that the stamp of approval, when it never existed in the fucking first place. It's like a huffalump. Like, that makes no sense. Like, how is there not a paper trail for a license? So let's learn together how this has all unfolded. On May 15th, Michigan man named Corey Harris showed up to virtual court hearing behind the wheel of his car. All right, this is just going to be the setting the stage, the foundation. Okay, here. Things got even stranger at a Wednesday hearing, which began with Judge J. Cedric Simpson revealing that Harris has in fact never had a driver's license and ended with the defendant being taken into custody. Simpson opened the hearing by saying he wanted to make sure the record was clear. Based upon what the court has looked at, he has never had a Michigan license ever. And he has never had a license in the other 49 states and commonwealths that form up this great union. He has never had a license. The judge went on to untangle the confusion, explaining that it had not been Harris's license that had been suspended last October in Pittsfield Township, but rather his privilege to drive in the state. Hence, for example, if he had a Kentucky license, he would be able to drive everywhere that Kentucky would allow him to drive. He just couldn't drive in Michigan because his privileges had been restricted. In fact, Harris apparently knew this. Prosecutor Conrad Siller said during the Wednesday hearing that police body camera footage showed Harris acknowledging at least twice to the officer who pulled him over that he didn't have a valid license. Jesus Christ. This is a lot to process. As to how the court figured it out, Simpson explained that his office had gone back through Harris's records, finding that he had applied for his first Michigan photo ID on May 3rd, 1999 at the age of 19. Counsel knows, and so do I, you cannot have both. Either you have an ID or you have a license. And he has religiously every year gotten a new ID. And so he knows that he doesn't have a license. And quite frankly, I just wish he would have said that at the beginning and all this hoopla could have just been put all aside. Brother, Your Honor, Simpson just dropped a hoopla, a cold hoopla in court right there. What a fucking statement. This guy said, I've had enough of this. It's time to end it. I didn't invent hoopla. He didn't steal my word. I haven't trademarked that. It's not copyrighted. I got it from SpongeBob. Hoopla, hoopla, hoopla. That shit. How did his lawyers not know that? Because it seems like Judge Simpson was really tired of the circus that followed this Zoom court meeting or hearing. And is like, oh, fuck it, I'll do it myself. We'll do it live. I can't trust anyone. If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. So he went into the trenches, combed through all the paperwork manually, and got to the bottom of it. Like I said, anytime you deal with anything even tangentially related to the government, I have learned it is a fucking disaster. I don't know how the country functions in any semblance of the word with the people that are in these government positions. They do not. They refuse to do their jobs. Straight up refuse to. It's laughable. That's why I don't believe in government conspiracies. They're too incompetent. Hey, checkmate. That's a good point, actually. That is a really good point. They can't even figure out whether or not someone has a license, and they act based off of just imaginary dreams that they had about this this license. Yet somehow they're going to have these grand conspiracies about fucking 5G towers rewriting your DNA and injecting COVID into your cockhole or whatever. After Harris' disastrous pretrial hearing on May 15th, Simpson revoked his bond and ordered him to turn himself in to the county jail that evening, where he spent 2 nights. 2 weeks later, shortly after Harris went viral, ABC affiliate WXYZ... Man, I've actually never read that out loud. I usually just brush over that because I don't feel like saying it all. Man, that's super stupid. ABC affiliate WXYZ. It's trash. I hate that branding. Reported that his suspension, which was tied to a child support case, had actually been lifted by a judge in 2022. It has literally been pure hell. I've been assaulted. I've been followed. I've been laughed at. I've been ridiculed. I have been disrespected, Harris told of the situation. He's been assaulted. Jesus Christ. Like in jail, maybe? Have random people on the street just been accosting this man? That's terrible. The report shed light on the seeming thicket of bureaucratic incompetence that had led to the wrongful citation. In order to see his driving record wiped clean, Harris was supposed to have paid a $125 fee to the Saginaw County Court Clerk's office, which would have allowed the court to send a notice of clearance to the Michigan Secretary of State's office, which oversees regulation of the state's motor vehicles. Harris pointed the finger at Saginaw County Friend of the Court, an office that assists court administrators. They're supposed to have lifted it 2 years ago, but they didn't always double check. Yeah, that's what he said, where like they just don't do what they're supposed to. This is once again just kind of like a recap of like the previous update. Simpson defended his sister court on Wednesday, saying that the Saginaw County Friend of the Court had done nothing wrong. His driving privileges were unsuspended in 2022. That required Mr. Harris to do something. He didn't do it. Therefore, the Friend of the Court was under no obligation to send anything to the Secretary of State. Wait, but he never had a license. Like, this shouldn't have even... They had nothing to unsuspend. He never had a driver's license. Like, I need to look up driving privileges. Is there paperwork for driving privileges? Like, is that a totally separate filing? Because I feel like he's just making that shit up right now. Like, that's something my parents would have made up in order to get me to eat my vegetables or do chores or something. I've never heard of that. Yeah, let's see. I'll do it on my phone real quick. It'll be faster. What is driving privileges? I'll do like court. Well, I dreadfully misspelled that. I typed in rivelages. So that didn't work. Hold on. All right. A limited driving privilege is a judgment issued in the discretion of a court for good cause shown authorizing a person with a revoked driver's license to drive for essential purposes related to any of the following: employment or maintenance of a person's household. Okay. Interesting. It was not immediately clear if anyone had notified Harris of the outstanding fee back in 2022. He paid it on Monday, a spokesperson for the Secretary of State previously confirmed, and Simpson said Wednesday that the Friend of the Court had immediately sent over the notice of clearance taking the suspension privileges off his driving record. The judge emphasized that no clerical error had been made either by his office, the Pittsfield Police, or Saginaw County authorities. It was a failure on the part of Mr. Harris to do certain things. It really wasn't, though. What? You guys also bear a lot of blame here. Like, this has been such a fucking convoluted series of, like, twists and turns and tubes to go through. It's not all on him. Driving privileges, driver's license, fucking... It's all over the place. I'm gonna do the Summer Game Fest stream Friday. Yes, I am. I will be. It's crazy just how inefficient all of the systems are. It's so crazy. How could there not just be like one simple protocol? Do you have your license? No. Do you have driving privileges? Yes. Okay. Here's records of both. And then you work from that. It should not be this convoluted. It can't be. Why is there 4 different bodies here that this goes through? The fucking Saginaw BFF of the court, the Secretary of State, the Pittsfield Police, and what was the other one? I forgot the other one. There's just so fucking many. It's just needlessly confusing. Charlie, most of the military still runs on XP. Let that sink in. Not only the military, most hospitals still run off of Windows XP. And they probably always will. Harris's attorney, public defender Dionne Webster Cox, who appeared alongside him in the WXYZ interview, said that she was committed to resolving the case and that Harris was in the process of procuring his license. She said he had his permit test scheduled for Thursday. Once he gets his permit, he's got to drive for at least 30 days. Apparently, he knows how to do that part. After cracking a smile. Other parts of the hearing were less jovial, particularly when Webster Cox stressed that it wasn't Harris's fault that he was now a meme. My client didn't start the hoop. Oh my God, they're dropping hoopla back and forth in here. It's a real Thunderdome. We got ourselves a clash of the Titans. Now the public defender's dropping hoopla. You can't just invoke the power of that word. It's like Voldemort's name. It's an ancient incantation. Perhaps he's made some comments, but he didn't start the hoopla whatsoever. That was someone that was outside of his control. Simpson seemed to take exception to this. You say it wasn't started by him. Oh, it certainly was. It was certainly when he made his first statement to WXYZ. The judge added that the person Harris needed to blame for the kerfuffle. This is so unserious. This one wasn't a quote, though, so this one's just from whoever wrote the article, dropping in a mean kerfuffle. It is actually a children's book here. These are Rick and Morty words. Was the person that was staring at him, the person that he was staring at in the mirror. He later added, just own it. Once you own it, then it becomes a whole lot easier just to move forward. What do you know about being a meme, Judge Simpson? Your Honor? What experience do you have there? The judge then brought up the fact that Harris had a warrant out for his arrest stemming from a separate traffic stop in Allen Park in June 2015 when he'd again been cited for driving without a license. Simpson acknowledged that he didn't know whether this had been mentioned to Harris after the pretrial hearing last month. I really don't care whether he was or not. All I know is that was back in mid-May, and it hasn't been taken care of. Simpson then had court officer escort Harris out of the room. Online records show that Harris has since posted bond in the case. Next court date for the traffic stop is August 13th, while the next hearing in this viral case is slated for August 7th. Mark your calendars. We got another summer blockbuster coming up for this case. I'm sure there's going to be another twist to it where it turns out that Harris is actually like a deep covert operative here. Something. Going to get the CTU involved with Jack Bauer somehow. Yeah, I don't know what else can come from this in terms of like shocking twists. I think it's all like that's got to be the last bomb that drops, right? Surely there's no more. So I imagine come August it'll just be standard court proceedings, probably nothing crazy. But who knows, this is becoming quite the high-profile case. I've been more into lawsuits than Saul Goodman recently. I've become such a huge lawsuit enthusiast over the last, 6 or so months. Not me, issuing lawsuits. I've still never done that. Though, with all the stories I've read, that could be a very interesting branch of content, just frivolously filing lawsuits to see how it goes, I guess. Because apparently no one ever gets punished for doing that. Best example is the classic, silly Billy Mitchell, the video game player of the century who files a new lawsuit anytime someone makes a joke about him being a cheater. And I'm not using the word allegedly, Billy. You are a scumbag cheater, and I hope you lose all of your ongoing lawsuits, brother. But anyway, enough bravado here and lat spreading on Billy Mitchell, celebrating every single L that he keeps taking, and will most likely continue to keep taking. Let's focus on what I want to talk about. I have really enjoyed diving into the most outrageous, most unhinged lawsuits imaginable. And last night, I found the magnum opus. This is the craziest lawsuit I've ever even been made aware of. There was a lawsuit I covered a couple years ago where there was a Twitch viewer who was suing Twitch because they were showing him female streamers and he couldn't stop jerking off, so he was suing for like millions of dollars worth of damages, claiming like it's immoral that Twitch would have these, female streamers doing suggestive things and it forces him to masturbate or whatever. And that, to me, for a while, was probably one of the most entertainingly awful lawsuits I'd read about. But what I read last night actually beats it. A man in Australia filed a lawsuit against a hospital for $1 billion Australian dollars, which converts to about 643 million freedom bucks. And the reason he was suing this hospital is because he watched his wife give birth. He believed that what he had witnessed there was basically a war crime, like a violation of his human rights and a complete failure on that hospital's duty of care to him to make sure that he didn't see that. He was upset because the hospital not only allowed him to watch his wife's birth via C-section, but also encouraged it. Which to me doesn't sound like anything weird from the hospital. I mean, they call it the miracle of childbirth for a reason. Plus, if he wasn't allowed to watch it, I feel like that would be a huge problem. Being denied access to your wife during like the most important moment of your relationship, I imagine would actually be grounds for a lawsuit. Most people, I would imagine, would want to be there with their partner to comfort and, be able to take part in the gift of life, I guess. But this guy believed that they should have shielded his eyes and plugged his ears or something, and the fact that they didn't caused him psychotic illness. And he believes he's entitled to at least $1 billion Australian dollars in damages. Did you hear about the man suing a hospital for $642 million after watching his wife's C-section and said it gave him a psychotic illness? You've got my attention. You undersold this. He's actually suing the hospital for $643 million. Man tries to sue a hospital for $643 million after he was encouraged to watch his wife's C-section. A man in Australia accused a hospital in Melbourne of causing him to develop a psychotic illness after he watched his wife undergo a cesarean section. Interesting. 643 million clams. Anil Coppola tried to sue the Royal Women's Hospital for letting him watch his wife's birth via C-section in 2018. He unsuccessfully sought 1 billion Australian dollars, which is 643 million. A judgment on the lawsuit filed in the Supreme Court of Victoria in Melbourne last week shows. How could this have not worked? What went wrong? Mr. Coppola's wife that day had a healthy baby delivered by cesarean section. Mr. Coppola alleges that he was encouraged or permitted to observe the delivery, that in the course of doing so he saw his wife's internal organs and blood, and that the experience caused the onset of a psychotic illness. He says the hospital breached the duty of care it owed to him and is liable to pay him damages. The hospital admits that it owed to him a duty of care, but denied that it breached it and does not accept that he suffered any injury. In his amended statement of the claim on October 22nd, Mr. Coppola, who is self-represented, that sounds about right. That tracks. Assessed his damages for psychological injury at $1 billion. Isn't this so cringe? The human body is so cringe that C-sections are pretty common because we're not developed enough, we haven't evolved enough to make birthing efficient. So oftentimes they have to deliver the baby through the stomach. Evolution just is... It's got to catch up. We've got to redefine the meta. Birthing should be like the most efficient thing humans are good at. It's like the whole purpose of being an organism. To reproduce. I was just talking to my mom about that. That is an interesting conversation to have with your mom, but yeah, it is a fascinating anomaly why we haven't evolved to be better at it. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, 32.1% of all baby deliveries in the U.S. in 2021 were cesarean section. Wow. Coppola filed the lawsuit several years after the operation, saying it caused the onset of a psychotic illness that led to a breakdown of his marriage. Yeah, that was the reason. The reason me and my wife broke up is because I had to watch her get a C-section, and I've never been the same. I couldn't look at her the same way. She grossed me out. It was so fucking yucky. I hated her for it. And I hated the hospital for making me see her like that. I've seen her inside and out. Yeah, stared into the abyss. Coppola chose to represent himself in court, where Justice James Gorton dismissed the suit and deemed the claim an abuse of process. I would agree with that. Did he give him like a big speech like, listen, goofball, this is ridiculous. Go home. Get out of my court. If men could birth, would you rather birth an NFL football out of your brown eye or a U.S. quarter out of your one eye? What a philosophical inquiry. I don't know. If I could, if I had to give birth right now and I got to choose, I'd probably try and do it like Majin Buu. So I'd vomit up the creature. I'd really rather not tear my whole ass out or anything like that. That's Piccolo. No, Majin Buu did that too, right? When he vomited out into Super Buu? Or am I misremembering? Trial proceedings included a medical examination of Coppola, with the panel concluding the degree of psychiatric impairment did not satisfy the threshold level, according to the judgment. Lawsuits that are seeking damage for non-economic losses, such as this one, require that an injury is significant, the judgment said. With regards to the medical panel's conclusion, Coppola said he disagreed with it, though the judgment said he was unable to agitate the correctness of it. I can't believe he didn't get $1 billion out of this, because he watched his wife's C-section, and then they got a divorce 3 years later. I want to see if this was televised. I'd love to see how he defended himself. Unfortunately, no footage exists of how this panned out, but man, I would really like to hear some of his arguments. No, listen, Your Honor, you don't understand. A baby came out from her tummy. I can't sleep anymore. I can't even look at her anymore. It's why our marriage fell apart, damn it. It's the hospital's fault for letting me see such a thing. I also love the confidence and delusion to ask for $1 billion from this. Our marriage was so good, Your Honor, you don't understand. It was worth at least $1 billion in order to make up for all of this hardship. I can't believe this. How could they be so cruel to let me see my child being born? No, damn you. Now, obviously, I think this is one of those cases where someone knows that it's ridiculous, but they try anyway and hope to settle out of court. So they go for this alarmingly huge number and then try and negotiate behind closed doors to just squash it. But with something this outlandish, that was never even in the cards. This is such a bogus baloney claim that it never even made it anywhere and never stood a chance either. I think there is a 0% chance that this guy is permanently scarred for life after watching his wife give birth. I understand C-sections are a little scary. I know what they are. Now, granted, I've never seen one in person, so maybe it's different in the Thunderdome. Maybe I'd see it and also just have a full-blown breakdown, my universe crumbles around me, and it fucks me up for life. But even in that case, I still don't think I'd ever win a case for $1 billion because of that. I think that's a hard sell right there. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this one a little bit because this one had me giggling. This is probably this has to be among the largest asks for a lawsuit based on legitimately nothing. So yeah, just wanted to talk about this a bit. That's it. So yeah. Mark wants to donate a testicle for money. I'll give it a whirl. Mark seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got some life pro tips here.
Peanut butter and jelly, $1.
How the fuck is he spending $60 a month on like 400 calories worth of food and he's still fat?
In his own apartment.
How is that possible? You're lying to me, Mark. You're sneaking cheeseburgers out the back door of McDonald's in bulk.
Hi, I'm Mark. Would you mind if I throw in some laundry with you? Just a few things, not a lot. Maybe a few things? No. Okay.
Welcome to Skyrim. What a great conversation.
My name is Mark. I was wondering if you'd mind if I tossed in a few articles with your laundry?
Not today, adventurer.
No. Please get a vodka and cranberry.
Yes.
Excuse me, would you mind if I threw some clothes in your ass? This guy's not a real cheapskate. A real cheapskate wouldn't get a dog because that's an extra expense. He has to get dog food.
These are the Ebola.
You're lying to me, Mark.
This is my favorite. And waiting to do is this testicular study. What you do is you go.
Well, let's take a peek at those testicles, Mark.
Testicles, they replace it with an artificial
Plant them on the
one,
camera.
and when you check out after.
See, Dr. Goldsmith will be right with you.
All right.
Okay?
Very casual attire for a doctor's office.
So, what's monthly budget of $25 for our groceries?
Well, the household grocery budget goes towards everything that we share.
$25 for groceries and he has a 24-pack of Bud Light sitting in his fridge? Yeah, I'm sure, baby boy.
That we share. We actually
You think you can lie to me on this show? Are you kidding
sometimes
me?
He likes to eat women, and I don't want Rick to die and me be stuck with a huge funeral bill. I can get it now at half the cost.
Ah, so you're gonna kill him. And you get his life insurance money. That's pretty smart, Carissa. Now that's an extreme cheapskate speedrun. Quick money, and you lose the expense of having a husband.
Nervous?
Now we're cooking. Okay, I get you, Carissa. Finally, something that makes sense.
Deal that we can possibly get. I mean,
cheap. These are our cheapest caskets.
So on these.
Is that really necessary though? Can we just use like a bucket and we can chop them up?
I don't even know.
Save money on a casket?
How much would that reduce the?
Be cheap.
Yes.
That's also another good point. Why are they holding a funeral like professionally? They could just do it in their backyard.
Life into it, but looking at how they want to do it.
Then they wouldn't even need a casket. And he turns into fertilizer for the plants out back, which saves her money on fertilizing.
Burial, one funeral, one everything.
Carissa, are you even thinking?
It's between $1,800 and $2,800.
Preposterous.
It'd be cheaper if we just did,
Can't we just use cardboard?
fewer letters like our initial.
The entire purpose.
Are they siblings? No, they're man and wife.
To save.
But I guess it's not mutually exclusive. They could be siblings. I don't know.
Removing $800 or $900 to $1,100 or $1,200.
No deal.
I was pretty shocked.
You get it down to 400 or else you're going in the ground.
Stone actually is.
I'm not paying a dime over 50.
Stone that.
They're used at the foot of a grave when you have.
Unnecessary.
Like
Can we just use a bag of sand?
But you know,
We're gonna be
That's
the
a good
cheapest
point,
we
Mean
can.
Priest. Honestly, they should just get cremated. It'd be far cheaper than all of this. Then it's only one urn. Little Bastard Harassing Residential Neighborhood Part 2. That sounds like a good title. See, that's finally something that sounds interesting. Great start. Is the cameraman a child molester?
Had a bag on his head. He's a bag boy.
You got him there. Take that. If only you could hear that.
And as he headed.
Why is he hanging out of the car looking like Scarecrow from Gotham? Like if Scarecrow is part of the ICP Juggalos. Is that a breathalyzer? What are you blowing? .2? Well, I'm invested now in this story. Do they finally get him? Glamour pool ugly bitch getting off work. Now she's blowing her fucking horn again. What? What the fuck is happening here? I'll leave it a like. Glamour pool piece of shit bitch getting off work. Now she's blowing her fucking horny. Damn, she's doing it the other way, the reverse. I'll leave it a like. I'm getting invested. Glamour pool bitch at it again. Jesus Christ, there's no mercy out here, no laws. I'll leave it a like. 61 possible murderers on Staley Road. What the fuck has happened? Is it that glamour pool bitch again? I'm expecting an army of murderers. Looks like this tree has a nutsack. What if he's telling the truth and just like 61 like serial killers rise from the dead in the background, like fucking Jeffrey Dahmer, Ed Gein, Hitler, all of them just terrorizing Staley Road. Whoop up on my butt, boy. Not gonna happen to his lifetime. Well, he did a whoop up on his butt, boy. Asshole blowing his air horn third morning in a row. Sounded more like a train whistle. But I'm no expert. I'll trust your expertise. Moron that thinks he's a fire truck. Who in their right mind could possibly think they're a fire truck? Human beings don't even have wheels. This guy must be insane.
Road from hell.
Is his whole channel just enforcing the speed limit? Holy shit. And he really hates the glamour pool bitch. She must have done some real fucked up shit to him. Staley Road has its own little Batman here. My god. Not a single car goes unnoticed on Staley Road, even if you're driving the speed limit. Your school dollars at work, and every child is leaning out giving him the finger. It must be that glamour pool bitch.
Look. This is our school system.
Why does he think everyone's a child killer? The whoop-ass man of Fort Myers? Oh god.
Okay.
He's got a cigarette too. He will fuck you up. Do not anger Hulk Hogan.
Go ahead.
Hulk Hogan mixed with a little Duck Dynasty
Hey,
jeans.
you on a public road.
Meet the woman who married Tetris. I've been wondering who finally put the ring on him. Next time you guys are jerking off to Tetris, just know, it's a taken man right there.
Makes me feel like I'm actually in Tetris.
Oh, that's gotta be really wet for her then. I'm inside of him. She doesn't even look like she's very good at the game.
Immersing myself in the game.
She's not even taking the time to really get to know him.
Pierre. I wouldn't say it's
This is
the
even an
best
official
day of my
wedding.
life, but
She's reading
it's
it off an
probably one of the most
iPhone.
memorable days of my life.
This will
I
never
love
hold
Tetris
up.
so much, and when I was with Dave, I'm polyamorous, so
Oh,
I started
how
getting
convenient.
obsessed with that video game.
Does
Portal.
Tetris know this? That's Portal in a nutshell. People fucking go nuts for the companion cube.
One more irregularities on it.
Why is there so many paper towels on the floor? Her friends think it's a joke, but
My
she's trying to be
very first
serious. Can you at
love
least
was a
hire someone that
multimeter
can
named
properly wed them?
David Dim after Dave Jones of EV Vlog because I was curious of.
That's
there were
fucked
other
up. You're
people
basically
who
like a
were
cuck
attached to
then.
objects.
If you
I
married
spent a good
Dave and
amount
you're
of
like
time
sticking his
Googling
dicks
it,
into
and
like
I
the
came
electrical
across
outlets,
sexuality.
you are
I'm like,
literally letting him
great,
fuck
that
other
sounds like me.
things.
And I'd love to cuddle him when he was just running and heating up, and that's unfortunately what led to him overheating. To see the wave, especially when you held onto his probe and you saw the
Calm down, he's
50 hertz
overloading.
wave on the screen of the
He's already come, lady, let him go.
Mains, and it just didn't work out. My secondary interest is actually Beat Saber.
Oh, that's good choice. That looks about right. Yeah, I can feel those feelings.
A true love for Tetris and all of the rest of the objects that I ever loved.
But you don't fuck them?
Hey, please like this
Why?
video
Take
and
that shit
subscribe
to the next
the
level.
Wizard of Oz.
Bro, fucking David had built-in dildos. You telling me you didn't fuck yourself with David's probes? What a waste. No wonder he fucking killed himself. It's not a person, by the way. David is the electricity charge machine. Before someone clips that, David is a machine that ran out of battery and she couldn't fix. The joke was he was a virgin because she refused. You get it now. Yeah, I think I've justified it plenty. I fell in love with my sugar daddy. Do you hear that, T3 subs? There's hope for all of you out there with your favorite e-girls.
We met on this dating site called Seeking Arrangements.
Hey, I know that one.
It's mostly known as a sugar baby, sugar daddy website.
Yeah, that was a really popular one when I was in college. I wasn't a client, I just know that one.
We just
care about money.
And the more we got to know each other, the more that I just liked
Man, he is really
this person.
mean mugging out here.
I'd say by just
He's
within a
looking
month,
real
I
stern.
just really had feelings for. And there's
He's
another
got some
one, and it has a
ice.
different finish to it. There's also this one.
Is she like a SoundCloud rapper? What does she need this shit
This one that
for?
really stood out.
Do your children know that you're a sugar daddy? Have you told them?
Yes.
They do know that,
But they're
We
4
don't
years old. They
discuss
don't know
it.
what it means yet.
but they're skeptical.
This is so weird. Don't act like when you're 60
She's
years
only in it for
old,
the money or
you
something
won't be
like
wanting to
that.
slam
I think we'll get, like,
18-year-old
Sarah's name at the
ham.
mall or something.
Grant's
And
just
he's been
out
asked
here
actually a number of
paying
occasions,
for it.
"Is that your daughter?"
Ex-boy band star unrecognizable after plastic surgery.
Mix when you walk into a plastic surgeon's office. I've had.
Well, it's not something most people find themselves doing. You don't just like wander in. It's not like going to Target.
Invasive surgeries, but I don't know the maintenance that's involved.
Yeah, you need a firmware update.
Now moving forward,
Have you downloaded the latest drivers to your face?
Like this.
Oh, what a library!
Yeah, I think there
You got the
are,
Outsiders in there?
Definitely books here that's amazing.
because they don't know how to express their emotions. They don't know how to have an actual conversation with you.
As far as, the age difference goes,
I
it's not
believe
really
that.
been a big concern.
18-year-olds these days grew up on the
I don't
internet
think of
and
her
with
as
Reddit
being
and shit. They have been trained to be fucking
30
losers.
years younger than me.
So I was 16 when he
Oh,
approached
no,
me.
no.
And
Marcus,
I
that's a
told him I was
crime.
18, and I was like, okay.
Having discovered Tamasia's true age, the pair stopped dating. But when she turned 17, they picked up where they left off, despite many objections about the big...
That's still a crime. Damn. At least in most places. We waited 30 days
There's the camp that
for her WoW
looks at
subscription to
Tamasia,
renew, and then I said,
as
you know what,
being,
that's good
hey,
enough.
Here's this young girl.
He looks like Bill from The Last of Us.
Hanging out with Marcus's friends, Tamasia sometimes feels pressure.
Hanging out with Marcus's friends at the retirement home.
Sometimes I still get a bit anxious when like his friends come over because it's like I have to like mature myself in a way that
Please,
don't
they're
see
coming
me as
over
a
to play
child.
Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah,
I'm
if you
sure.
notice,
You don't
Marcus
need to
comes
really
over
change too
and
much. It's
Good thing I made brownies.
talk about fantasy, magic, and sci-fi. Why is he dressed up in a suit to hang out? Oh yes, I'm coming over to eat brownies. I'll put on my favorite tux.
Of them.
He's a very kind, sweet person. Always trying to do.
See, nice guys don't always finish
He's
last.
just an all-around great guy.
You just need to wait.
Awesome father.
40 years.
You know, I'm like the best thing that's ever happened to him.
I don't know him very well, but I will probably agree with that. Yeah, I'll say you're probably right on the money with that.